I almost just choked on a cheese curd.
Ironically enough, actually, Chantel, can you read the text message?
Guys, I think I've said this before in this podcast. Ash does speech to text all the time. 9 times out of 10, my response is, this text message does not make sense. And just now, I said, I'm choking on a cheese curd. You're going to need to give me a minute. And she says, oh my God, I'm also eating cheese curds, but please don't die. We have one more episode to do. I'm eating Putin and it is so good. Then panics and says, not the man Putin, because I'm using voice to text, but the French Canadian cuisine. Because maybe I would have thought that Vladimir Putin was in your apartment and you were eating him. It's possible. Anything's
Vladimir,
possible.
you're safe for now.
For now. You never know. Then we were laughing because we were like, what if we both choked on a cheese curd at the same time? And like they do the autopsy. We would be on every podcast.
The mystery of the cheese curds.
The mystery of the triggered girls and the cheese curds.
Fucking true Canadians right here. St. Albert's, you fucking did me in.
They died of the curd. Guys, it's Halloween. I'm so happy. This is my favorite week. No. So Halloween is
I was going to say
tied.
Like, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. So
Chantal doesn't celebrate St. Patrick's Day. It's like the entire month of March is Chantal's time to shine.
Yeah. My family gets so irritated. The same way that I do, like December hits and they start playing Christmas songs. And I'm like, well, March 1st hits and I've got the Rocky Road to Dublin playing in the background while I'm doing dishes. Like it's a thing. It's a thing.
I am down a rabbit hole.
Uh-oh.
I started listening to this podcast called The Exorcism Files. You know how I love a good possession.
I know. It's so funny that you say that because today we are diving into the Enfield Poltergeist. The Enfield Poltergeist. I know.
But
deep breaths.
Here is the thing with this. I don't know if I would classify a poltergeist to a possession.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. This will challenge you.
I like that. I want to be challenged. I am
this
in this.
Story
like
will
when we
challenge
get
you.
off recording our podcast, I'm going right back into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it's a really bad thing that I kind of have a crush on the Catholic priest? That is the exorcist?
That actually doesn't surprise me in the least.
Like, is this allowed? Am I allowed to feel like, ooh, you're kind of sexy?
Oh,
it's
hey,
like on
sir.
Sex in the City, Friar Fuck. Remember him?
You're like, hello, Father.
Going to hell. But I feel like it's human nature. We're allowed to like what we like. And I just think he's sexy.
And I'm sure he, deep down inside that he would probably see that as a compliment.
I hope
everyone likes to hear.
Like I'm not going to like obviously flirt with a priest or like make him be a sinner in his eyes because like I'm not that fucking psychotic, but like I'm allowed to have my little moment of thrill.
Yeah, girl, have your thrills. Thrills and thrills.
All right, let's
Absolutely.
go.
Okay. So we're going to get right into it because she's a beast. It all starts on a quiet street, the kind of London suburb that never made the news. Rows of modest council houses, their bricks worn by drizzle and time, children's bikes left on lawns, dogs barking behind fences. Nothing remarkable ever happened on Green Street in Enfield until the night of August 30th, 1977.
Hang on. Do you not remember, like 80 episodes ago, I declared that my new birthday was going to be August 30th?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hey, we didn't celebrate that this year. We have to do that next year. What the hell?
I know. Anyways, this will be a celebration of my fake birthday.
Well, this is when it all began.
All right.
Peggy Hodgson was just trying to get her 4 kids to bed. She was exhausted. She always was. And I relate to this. I mean, I didn't have 4 young kids. I had 1 young kid, and I can't imagine 4 of them.
I had 2, and it was constantly running between the bedrooms. Mom, mom, water,
Yeah.
stories, back tickles, Buck.
Yeah, yeah. So that was Peggy. She was by herself. She was raising them alone. But that night, as she told her daughters, Janet and Margaret, to stop whispering and get under the covers, she noticed something off. A heavy chest of drawers. So a dresser, for those of us in North America, one that usually took 2 people to move, slowly scraped against the floor, deliberately, and it was moving toward the door.
No.
And I just want everyone to take a moment here and really put yourself in Peggy's shoes. This woman, she's exhausted. She works full time. She's got 4 kids. They're running around. She is pissed off at her daughters because they're still talking and they're supposed to be sleeping. She's in there and she's like, if I hear one more noise out of either of you, there's going to be trouble. And all of a sudden she hears,
I would have I'd be like, you know what? Get your shit. We're sleeping downstairs.
I would be like, well, actually, get out of bed, pack your bags, because we don't live here anymore.
Right?
But of course, that was not an option for single mom Peggy. Peggy is thinking one of the other kids must be behind it, pushing it. But even in that moment, she thought, there's no way. It takes 2 grown adults to move this. This wasn't some IKEA thing.
You don't
This
got
was,
fucking Bam Bam back there lifting
no,
the
this
fucking
was a
dresser.
solid piece of wood. So she says, stop that. But she looks over. There's no kid behind the dresser. And both of her older girls are laying in bed, eyes wide open. The chest keeps sliding 1 inch, then another. And they're just standing there in silence watching this happen until all of a sudden it slams against the door as
Oh,
though something
fuck.
didn't want them to leave. So Peggy runs across the room because now she's panicked because of so many different things. But the first thing that came to her mind was her other 2 kids are on the other side of this door. She starts to try to shove it back, but it won't budge. It was like pushing against a wall. And she's in full panic now. The girls are whimpering, Mom, what's wrong? What's happening? Then comes the knocking. Hollow, rhythmic, not random at all, patterned, almost aware. 3 knocks, a pause, 3 more. And that was the night Green Street went from ordinary to cursed.
I need all of the information.
I know. Eventually, she's able to move the chest, but Peggy doesn't sleep that night because, of course, she doesn't sleep that night.
Right? You're not just like, well, that was fucking weird. I guess we should all go to sleep now. Like, fuck.
Everyone get in your beds. No, exactly. So she's right spooked. The next morning, as soon as the sun comes up, Peggy calls the police because she doesn't know. She's like, who do you call for this? 2 officers show up, probably expecting like some kind of domestic complaint because I can't even imagine how she would have explained that over the phone. And from reports that I've read, she didn't. She literally just said, I'm going to need an officer to come to my home.
Okay, you're Peggy. You're single. You don't have, who are you calling?
Well, you.
Fair. Yeah.
Definitely
I'm probably calling
you.
the Royal Ottawa like, hi, yes, hello. I think I'm going to need a room.
A van and a room are in order immediately.
Preferably not with Adam Rossi because he's currently there, but anyone else, like I'll bunk up.
Yeah, honestly. I know, and this was the thing. So the police show up and she's awkwardly trying to explain this to them. And I can only imagine the police officers are like, so something not there trapped you in the room. So they do what good police officers do, and they do a full sweep of the house. They see nothing out of the ordinary. So they come back downstairs. They're standing in the living room with her, explaining to her, we looked in every closet. We looked for maybe the presence of there being another person here. And as they are mid-conversation, UPC Carolyn Heaps saw something that made her blood run cold and her voice stop in her throat. As she's facing Peggy, out of the corner of her eye, she sees an armchair lift just slightly and slide 3 feet across the floor. No one was near it, no wires, no prank. She watched it happen And in her written police report later that night, she would note exactly what she saw. She said, the chair moved of its own accord.
Like, really? Police officers are, trained to trust your instinct,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, and now everything you've ever learned, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not in fucking the police academy learning about fucking poltergeists and
No,
spirits and hauntings. You're
no.
like, what the fuck do I even do with this? I can't shoot it.
And that was the thing. And this, because I read a whole bunch about Carolyn, this shaped her for the rest of her life. This changed everything about what she believed was reality and what she saw. Because as soon as the chair stopped and lowered back to the ground, I mean, she ran over. She felt for wires. She lifted it up. She turned it over because it had to be something logical and it just wasn't.
Mm.
So, as we get deeper into this story, something that separates this story from some of the other ones that some of the famous ones, like Amityville, for example, is there are so many witnesses to this. This wasn't just the family stating that they were seeing these odd occurrences. This was police officers and furthermore, people who visited the house, friends, family, later on, paranormal investigators. This is what makes it so terrifying and so unique. But what had started inside 284 Green Street was only getting started. The nights became unbearable. Knocks echoed through the house like a heartbeat. Furniture tipped over. Toys launched themselves across rooms. The kids began screaming that voices were whispering to them from the walls. And
No.
the temperature would drop suddenly as though someone had put them in a freezer.
Hmm. Have you ever felt or experienced anything like?
I wouldn't say to this extent. I've definitely had temperature drops when I have felt like something's up.
Hmm.
And I mean, my most favorite delusional story was that night that I thought that I felt water drip onto my head
Yeah, yeah.
and there was
So
nothing there.
when I was a teenager, my mom
Mhm,
bought this, like, half of a duplex. It was a
mhm.
century home, and it was, like, old. It was over 100 years old.
Okay.
And, I I don't even so it's a bizarre thing, but my room was the second room in the hallway. Not to get off
Okay.
topic, but I feel like
No.
this really will fuck a couple people up. So, I move in with my mom,
Mhm.
and we're living there, and I had never experienced anything like this, so I don't know, you can take it for what it is. So, I have my room, I'm lying in my bed. One night, my bed starts bouncing. The foot of my
Oh
bed is bouncing off the floor.
my god.
I get up, I'm freaking out. I tell my mom, she does not believe me. Like, I'm a fucking lunatic, okay? So then my mom gets a boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. And they end up moving their room into my old room and I moved out because I aged
Okay.
out
Yeah.
or didn't age out, but there were some things. So, anyways, I moved out
Yeah.
early. Years later, and I think it's a generational thing because
Mm.
like your parents just don't talk about anything. But
Mhm.
years later, my mom said to me, Jeff and I were in bed in your old room and our bed levitated
Mhm.
and they moved out of the room. But that was the end of I was like, I told you. Like,
I know their generation is
they
just
just
like,
won't
it didn't
talk about it.
happen. Yeah.
And I was like, can we
And
have a
I
conversation? No.
No, absolutely not. And I kind of imagine Peggy wishes she could have just let this go,
Yeah.
but she could not.
Or even to have somebody to talk to about it and be like, am I crazy? Like,
Mhm.
you know?
Well, she did have people she could talk about. So these are row houses. So your home is attached to another person's home. And the neighbors started noticing things too and started talking to Peggy about it. So initially, Peggy's like, I got to keep this to myself. People are going to think I'm wild. They're going to take my kids. Like, this
Yeah.
is a private matter. But the neighbors started telling Peggy There were strange noises coming from their home when they weren't there. One woman said she saw the curtains twitch as though someone were standing just behind them. And at the time, she knew Peggy wasn't home and she was worried that one of the kids was there by herself. So she went in the house, looked everywhere,
There was no one
and there
there.
was nobody there. And she was
Fuck.
convinced. She said the way the curtain was moving, like it looked like one of the kids had accidentally been forgotten and left at home, but there was nobody there.
Shit.
And so, as we see, word spread fast. Soon the house was a complete spectacle. Reporters, photographers, curious onlookers gathered out front. Cameras flashed through the night, which I would become a psychopath if I'm trying to live my life in my home and people are taking pictures
No.
outside my windows. I would lose it.
Yeah. Fuck the fuck off. My kids are in here, you know?
I know.
It's crazy.
But inside the house, behind locked doors, Peggy was barely holding it together. The fear wasn't just of what she couldn't see, but it was what it was doing to her children.
Mm-mm.
One night in particular still haunts the family's memories. It was late. It was about 3 a.m. 11-year-old Janet was asleep when she felt the air change thick and electric, like the moments before a thunderstorm. And then she was lifted, not rolled out of bed, lifted. Her sister Margaret watched in horror as Janet floated several feet above her mattress, body rigid, hair hanging down. There was a camera in the room that night, one that belonged to a Daily Mirror photographer. He caught 3 frames of Janet mid-air. Now, skeptics later claimed she was simply jumping, but those who were there swear she was thrown. Now, I have seen the photos. I will share the photos. Initially, I'm looking at them. It looks like she's jumping.
But okay, so let's just play devil's
Mhm.
advocate here. Say all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're lifted into the air and you're, trying to get down because you're fucking freaked out like I would be.
Yes. Yeah.
If you catch me in a still moment, it looks like I'm like,
Exactly. And there, I will say, there are parts of the photo that I'm like, one
yeah,
being, and when we look at the photo, you'll understand what I'm saying. If you look at the bed, so the bed is made, and to me, if she had jumped from the end of the bed, which is where she would have had to be to jump midair, I feel like there would be proof of that in the comforter. Like you would see where the indent in the comforter was that
yeah.
she launched, and there's nothing there.
So interesting.
I know. The family was no longer alone, and there was no doubt about this. This was not something they were imagining. This was not something they were making up. They were starting to get proof after proof after proof that this was occurring. The Society for Psychical Research, the SPR, had sent an investigator named Maurice Gross. He'd lost his own daughter in a tragic motorcycle accident just months before, and perhaps on some level, he was searching for a sign that the afterlife existed. So this guy was like, I will go. Send me.
Is he the guy that created the spirit box?
That's a really great
I think
question.
this is the guy
No way.
that created a spirit box, but I'll double check and I'll confirm. But I'm almost certain he did. And that's very interesting. But carry on.
Very interesting. So Maurice stayed in the house for nights on end. He slept in a chair, notebook always in hand, recording every sound, every movement. He was soon joined by another investigator, Guy Leon Plairfield, who would later write a book called This House is Haunted. Between the two of these men, they documented over 2,000 separate events. So this was there was never a moment of peace in this home, ever.
I have actual anxiety right now.
I know.
Like,
Well,
real anxiety, which is weird because I don't get that when we do cases, and I'm
I know.
feeling heavy anxiety, but continue. I will pull it together.
We'll have to cleanse after. Well, it only gets worse because Janet began speaking in a voice that wasn't her own. It was low, guttural, rasping, the voice of an old man who called himself Bill. Bill said he died in that house, sitting in a chair downstairs. He choked on a hemorrhage, which just reading those words, I'm like, that is horrific.
That's disgusting. How is that
Researchers,
possible?
well, hemorrhages can be a problem.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know.
I've got the ick.
I know. When researchers later tracked down the house's previous owner, they discovered that, yes, a man named Bill Wilkins had died in that very living room in exactly the way the voice described. And let's be real here. There's no way Janet could have known that. Janet was 11 years old. She had no idea who the previous owners were. Remember, this is 77. They don't have Google. They're not searching shit up on their iPhones, okay? During one recording, the voice, Bill, told Maurice, I come to you to see where I am, and I'll tell you where you are. You're dead.
What?
Mm-hmm. Those recordings still exist, and you heard one at the start of this episode. I hope that scared the shit out of all of you. You know how impossible it is to believe that this came from an 11-year-old girl. Like, our men have deep voices. It sounds like them. This wasn't. Come on.
You know, I know a thing or two about possessions here. A thing or two, because I spend too much time reading about it and listening to it and all the shit. It's really quite a problem. I'm just going to be the first person to note, well, not the first person, but that our dead do not communicate through our bodies. Real life spirits do not come through our bodies. So if your fucking kid or your husband or your neighbor or whatever starts talking and saying there's somebody else, that's a fucking demon. And run. It's a fucking
Ashley's
demon.
PSA of the day.
Jesus, fuck, you're giving me a fucking headache. I'm anxious. Carry on. Let's go.
Even worse, there were times where Janet's lips didn't even seem to move. One recording, because they were like, because when something like this happens, what you need to do is you need to try to debunk it. You need to try to prove that someone is faking it, right? So they said, Janet, take a swig of this water, but hold it in your mouth. And she's like, okay. And then they taped her mouth shut. And the voice continued, completely undeterred. Didn't sound like she had water in her mouth or tape over her mouth.
I hate this.
I know. Even skeptics who were like, get out of here. This isn't happening. Who witnessed it firsthand, admitted it was disturbing and real in a way that's hard to describe. The house became.
Are you sure Bill isn't in you?
The house became a carnival of fear and fascination. Journalists lined up outside. Some claimed to feel strange sensations even when they weren't in the house, Ashley.
Yeah, that's an ominous presence.
Others heard knocking that followed them around the room. One photographer, sitting quietly, was struck hard in the face by a Lego brick that came from nowhere, and he was bleeding and had a bruise for weeks.
Bleeding from a Lego brick? That's force. Yeah. Because have you ever been? No, you had a daughter. Well, actually, it was my daughter. Ooh,
I was going to say, we had Lego hard in our house.
We had the Lego Friends kit, and I'll never forget getting up and going in her room to check on her and stepping on one of those motherfucking Legos. Like, burn the house down.
The worst. Yeah. I know. Well, this poor lad was
But it didn't draw blood.
No, this was forceful.
This is wild.
Neighbors reported seeing the children's beds shake violently through the upstairs windows. So they would be outside doing their thing, and they would look up and they could see the bed in front of the window, and it would be shaking violently. One man claimed he saw Janet thrown clear across the room. And Peggy, she started sleeping downstairs because she couldn't bear the sound of her children screaming through the night anymore.
Okay. Unpopular opinion.
I know. When I read that, I was like, Peggy, my dear.
Honey, I get you're scared. but you're the one. You have to be the one.
Yeah.
I don't give
It's
a
you.
fuck if Mike Myers is standing in my bedroom. I'm standing in front of those kids. Be like, sir, fuck
I
me.
know. And don't want us to judge Peggy too deeply because I actually cannot fucking imagine
No.
going through this.
But
At the
why would
same
you
time, I
not
was like,
bring the kids down with you?
I know. Why are
You're
we
just
not
leaving
all
them up
sleeping in
there?
the living room? It's
Okay, then.
different. But anyway,
Okay.
but what terrified Peggy more than anything wasn't the noise. It was how the haunting seemed to focus on Janet. And we
Yeah.
see this time and time again with Poltergeist, especially as children enter into puberty, into their adolescent years.
But are
It's a
we
thing.
talking? Okay, so here's where I'm a little confused, if you will. We're
Okay.
saying poltergeist and we're saying, you know, like essentially like possession. Because a poltergeist wouldn't have a voice going through her. A poltergeist entity is generally, movements, things like that, where a possession would be the voices, the hauntings, whole thing.
Mhm.
Now, my question is because if it was a poltergeist, let's say, the theory behind poltergeist is that it's your own energy pushing out and making
Mhm.
these it's almost like a power that
Mhm.
you're causing, say when kids get upset, light bulbs blow,
Mhm.
shit's moving around and they don't even realize they're the cause of it.
Mhm.
So are we talking poltergeist or are we talking demonic entity fucking because I would with the Legos being thrown, the chair being moved, all that poltergeist sounds right. But then when we have the voice, demonic
Mhm.
entity, like what are we
From
talking about?
Bill. Like, Bill was a real man.
No. Yes, I believe you that Bill was a real man,
Yeah.
but this ain't Bill.
Yeah, I know. I know.
This is
But
someone who knows about Bill.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So Janet was young, bright, creative, sensitive, and now she seemed to be a vessel for something unworldly.
Do we know if she ever fucked around with like Ouija? Did she ever,
I'm going to get into something
Okay.
in a little bit. Yeah. Janet said it felt like being taken over, like falling asleep inside your own body while someone else moved your mouth, which is
Possession.
terrifying.
That's
Yeah.
possession. Yeah.
Of course, not everyone believed. There were still skeptics who said it was a hoax, that the girls were seeking attention, that maybe the stress of poverty, their absent father, had turned into mischief. Some pointed to moments when the girls were caught faking the phenomena, bending
Mhm.
spoons, knocking on walls. Janet herself later admitted that a small percentage of what happened was faked just to test the investigators, which I initially was like, it's all fake.
Mhm.
But then I tried to imagine my 11-year-old daughter when she was 11. Okay. Now, think about it this way: you're in a weird part of your life. You're 11 years old. You're going to puberty. Shit is shifting. Okay. All of a sudden, you are a nobody family from nowhere that nobody pays attention to. You're poor and you don't have a dad. All of a sudden, the whole world is literally standing outside your house waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I understand that there were times where she faked it? Yes, I really can. I don't think that
100%.
discredits all the other shit that is not explainable because let's be real here. What that police officer saw was not Janet.
No.
She wasn't even in the room. So
Right. Okay.
anyway, and this is the question that remains, like, how do you explain the rest of the times? So sure, there were times where Janet was fucking around, but the policewoman's report, the dozens of journalists who saw things move with no explanation, the hundreds of hours of recorded sounds, voices, and phenomena that even audio experts couldn't fully replicate. So they tried. They tried to go back to their studios and, like, okay, what if we do this? What if we fuck with this? What if we increase this? And they couldn't do it. It wasn't possible. Some of the
Okay.
best audio experts in the world couldn't replicate what was coming out of this home. Over time, just like it started, the activity just slowed down. By 1979, the house grew quieter. The family tried to rebuild a normal life. Janet left home, started her own family, and she rarely spoke publicly about what happened until years later when a film company came calling.
Mm-hmm.
By then, the haunting had become a legend, the subject of documentaries, books, and eventually The Conjuring too.
Yeah. I was going to say.
And this bothered me deeply. Janet hated how Hollywood twisted it. She said they made it look evil, but it wasn't evil. It was confused and sad.
No, Janet, it was not. Fucking,
And
you're
yeah,
not getting Lego blocks thrown. You're not getting fucking
no,
levitated. You're not having an evil voice come out of your mouth.
confused.
Confused and sad? No.
Which freaks me out because it's like she had compassion for this thing.
So that's the thing about demons.
Mm-hmm.
They are the best liars in the world.
Exactly. So even later on in life, she was mad that Hollywood made it evil and she was defensive of it. Like she
She
was like,
had
it
an
wasn't evil.
attachment to it.
Yes.
That's
And
fucked
it's
up.
so funny. And it's so funny because guys, I've never seen The Walking Dead until now. So I'm watching it from the very beginning. We're on season 5. And if anybody hasn't seen it, this is like, I'm going to say some shit that might ruin it for you. So don't listen. Fast forward 20 seconds. I just watched the episode where one of the young girls thinks that the zombies are still people.
I know.
And they end up having to kill her over it because like
Yeah.
she goes crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
so it was interesting. I was reading this. I'm like, oh my God, that's the same type of thing that happened to Janet.
Yes.
She admitted that she sometimes wondered if whatever haunted her wasn't external at all, but something trapped inside her family, all that grief and tension taking on a life of its own, which you were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But then she'd pause, shake her head, and whisper, no, there was something there. I know what I saw. Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting because we could have that debate. Was it poltergeist? Was it fucking demonic
Yeah.
possession? Now, did they have a priest come in?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'd be curious to know.
I'm sure they did because it sounds like over those 2 years, hundreds of people came in and out of this house trying to figure out how to deal with this, trying to see if this was
Ed and
even real.
Lorraine? I think so.
They might have. Yeah, they might have.
Fucking Ed and Lorraine.
Maurice Gross continued to believe until his death that the Enfield poltergeist was genuine, that he'd witnessed forces beyond science. Guillaume Playfair remained more cautious, saying, I'm not sure what it was, but I am sure they didn't imagine it. So it sounds like Guy was a little bit more like on your level, where he was like, I'm not comfortable saying it's a poltergeist, but I don't think that they were imagining this.
No, you can't have all these first person accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone saw it. No.
Yeah, exactly. To this day, 284 Green Street is occupied. Ordinary people live there. No one's reported much. A few creaks, maybe a door that closes on its own, the usual. But sometimes, late at night, a knock can be heard 3 times, soft but deliberate. And for those who know the story, that's enough. Because whether you believe this was a ghost, a hoax, or a haunting born from human pain, the Enfield case remains one of the most documented and disturbing hauntings in history. It blurs the line between the living and the dead, and the living and the unknown. Maybe it was a house possessed by spirits. Maybe it was a home consumed by energy until it manifested into something tangible. Or maybe, and people still think this, I know you don't, people think maybe it was Bill Wilkins, mad about the way he died.
No. Once you die, you're not mad about it. We're all born to die, and that's just the result
I don't know, girl.
of humanity.
I feel like there's some people who get mad when they die. Also, poor Bill died in a horrific way.
I mean,
but what do you do? What do you do, Bill?
I mean, what do you do? Bill,
we all
sorry.
gotta go.
We
sorry
all...
that you choked on your hemorrhage.
Okay, we never say that again. Fuck me.
I know you hate it.
I hate that word. I hate that word. It just does something. If you had to die a certain type of way, what is the one way you don't want to go?
I don't want to drown.
Yeah.
Drowning sounds horrific.
Yeah.
Like, I just want peace when I go. I don't want, like, drowning sounds horrific.
I don't want to burn.
I think I would rather burn over drowning.
It's fucked up.
Anyways, on that happy note, that was the story of the Enfield Poltergeist.
Thank you.
It still goes down in history. It's still spoken about. I know there was a new Conjuring that just came out. I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't? I watched it. Of course, I watched it.
I know. I'm starting to panic a little bit because I'm like, oh my God, we're already like on the south side of October.
Yeah.
I gotta get going. I know. All that being said, I hope you have a lovely Tuesday, and we will see you guys on Halloween.
I'm so excited.
Don't forget, if you are bored Halloween night, or even if you're not bored, because we could be the main event, we will be live on TikTok. I will post what time we will be live. It will really depend on how long it takes us to get our costumes sorted.
Yeah.
But join us. We'll be live on TikTok. We're going to be with the dudes. You can meet the men, as much as they may not like that.
They'll be there.
They'll be there. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you on Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.